This is the Pocket Monster Manual. I'm Wooly Shambler here with Catsman,
Ahoy hoy.
MD,
Hello.
and Specs.
Hello also.
We're talking about Clefable.
Probably number 3 on my list of favorites.
She was the MVP of my first Pokemon Red run.
It's so good.
He destroyed the entire game by himself.
It's insane. Clefable is... I don't know. I just love Clefable so much. If I ever meet it, I'm gonna cry.
I actually don't like Clefairy or Clefable, to be honest. They're just, like Catsman said on the last episode, they're like blobs with faces to me. I don't find them appealing.
I like a blob with a face.
See, I don't know. Like, I mean, they are, don't get me wrong, but I kind of like this little squishy cuddly guys. Like, I love Gloom, for example.
Oh, I love Gloom too. He's he's so good.
I think it's something about the proportions of a Clefable, though. It's too tall for its squidge to me. I find it a little bit. It gives me a bit of a sense of unease, you know, the way it looks. Whereas Jigglypuff is perfectly round. I can get behind squeezing that.
Jigglypuff is the round thing with a face, and you're like gonna call Clefable like...
I don't know. Clefable is like...
You're saying it's not round enough.
It's not round enough.
Oh, body shaming, huh? Gotcha. I don't know. I think Clefairy like looks better, but I just like Clefable more in the end. Do you guys remember how like Clefable pretty much was like the alien leader of that group of Clefairy in the show?
No,
Yes.
I do not remember.
That was like a reoccurring thing. Oh, it was weird. They like showed up really early on, came back like almost at the end of Kanto, and then showed up after Hoenn too.
In the Pokedex entries, they appear to be very protective of their own world. They are a kind of fairy, rarely seen by people. So that suggests actually that they're a fairy. Well, there's a fairy type, obviously, in Pokemon, but this is an entry from Pokemon Yellow. So as well as having like Indian elephants in the Pokemon universe, people also believe in fairies that are not Pokemon.
What's wrong with that?
I find it so odd that there's like these references to real world animals and fairies, world fairies.
That's how you explain the used condoms at the bottom of the garden to the children.
Jesus Christ!
What?
Is that a story from your old childhood, Cat?
Is that what the Fable leaves around? Is it just like runs around like just throwing condoms everywhere?
What's that condom doing at the bottom of the garden? Oh, fairy put it there.
I'm just picturing it with like condoms like hanging off its ears and its wings now. It's kind of disgusting.
Clefairy is the condom fairy. I love it.
Fable. If you think about it, it makes sense that like some of the real world myths, I mean, you know, they just happen to have a real explanation. Clefable is just those fairies that no one can explain. It just kind of shows up, I don't know, takes a dump on your lawn and leaves.
The Pokemon world is our world, Specs. Like, that's, you know, all of the areas are based on real areas of Earth.
But it's not our world. It's not.
Because there was a moon landing and stuff.
It takes the first one takes place in Kanto, like the Kanto region of Japan.
Yeah, I know. And as a kid, like, I didn't think that was a real place, obviously, but now I know that Kanto and Johto are like prefectures of Japan, and we've got Alola that's based on like Hawaii, and you've got Unova, which is based on like New York or whatever.
Yes, the New York area.
Yeah.
When are they going to have one in Western Supermare, though? That's what I want to know.
What the fuck is that?
Western Supermare? It's got the word super in the name, so it must be good.
If they ever make Pokemon brown and grey, it will be set in Western Supermare.
How do you think Clefable got to Earth?
Yeah, it used the power stored in its wings from the moon.
Yeah, simple.
Okay, but how did it breathe then?
Doesn't need to.
It lives on the moon. It's got no atmosphere. It doesn't need air, does it?
I seriously considered that question for a second. Like, how does it breathe on the way from the moon to the Earth?
Shut up, okay? I like to think that there's like a big fucking pink UFO that it took that has like a bunch of glitter and shit.
Fluffy pink UFO. I agree.
Yeah, dude, just like a cloud. Maybe it came on clouds.
I'd like to point out that the Pokédex says that it can hear a pin being dropped nearly 1,100 yards away, which is an oddly specific number.
That just seems like a horrible way to live. You'd never have peace.
Can't help it. It can't help but hear a pin drop from over half a mile away, says the Ultra Sun entry. It can't help it. That's why it lives deep in mountains where there aren't many people or Pokemon. That's why it stays away from people, and it's such a rarity, and people think it's some sort of fairy condom bringer. Because It stays away
Brings
from
condoms.
people because
Oh.
they're too noisy.
Hear that, DIY neighbors? It's been like 8 weeks or something. If your house isn't finished now, it's a lost cause. Give up.